Yeah, we're good. Just a second. My one.
Good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock, and like to call to order the July 5th meeting of the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority. Please call the roll.
Jim Anderson in for Tommy Johnson.
Here.
Loretta Radford. Here. Sue Ann Arnall. Chad Alexander. Ben Brown.
Here.
Kevin Calvey.
Present.
M.T. Berry.
Present.
And Chairman Jim Couch.
Chairman, present. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Dan, would you lead us this afternoon? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Notice of this meeting was properly posted on June 30th, 2022. Next up is public comment. First up is Sean Cummings.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everyone again. Congratulations on the jail. I've got a problem with a statement that David Hooten made, and he did an article in IgniteLiberty.com. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this for you. The truth behind the attacks, the county jail bond misinformation. The fact is, in part, what makes the accusations and his resignation so shocking. When we asked Hooten to speculate on the timing of the attacks, he pointed at June 28th bond issue for a new Oklahoma County jail. Thank you for keeping your eyes on me, everybody. That's awesome. In a recent News 9 article covering the bond issue, Oklahoma County Commissioner Brian Maughan is seen telling voters what happened is in 2008 is voters approved a bond. This is just going to renew and the one that issued 14 years ago, and those bonds are now falling off. This would continue at the same rate, not an increase, but not a decrease. Now, according to Hooten, however, that is far from the truth. There would not be a renewal of the previous bonds because they can't be renewed once paid off. Instead, this is a new bond whose rates will skyrocket in the second year from 0.64 millage rate to 5% millage rate, essentially raising the borrowing cost 10 times over, thus raising property taxes by an extraordinary amount. Hooten questioned in numerous public forums how that huge increase in taxes during the second year would not be felt as a tax increase. In my mind, they knew I would tell the truth about the new jail bond. They knew I would not lie, so they found a way to take me out of the picture. Now, if that is true, that you all took a whistleblower and got rid of him, that makes this election invalid. If he had the information that the voters needed to use and you got rid of him. Now, there's a feeling of this whistleblower hit in a Brian Maughan ex-employee that got a hold of me about a year and a half or 2 years ago. Now, I was contacted by him, talked to him for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, found out more about Brian Maughan than I ever wanted to know, more about the SHINE program, his office, and everything else. And after we go through all of this stuff, I said, well, why are you not working there? You got whistleblower status. And he said, well, they threatened to put child porn on my computer. Now, so somebody in his office supposedly threatened to put child porn on his computer, and he said, you can't get rid of that. You can't act like it's not yours once it's on there. Once they accuse me of it, I'm out. So it forced this whistleblower out. And I didn't really truthfully put that much into it. That's why we're talking about a year and a half later. But that's a pattern if this is what happened with Houghton. If we did it with one person, there's nothing above saying it happened with another person. And what I want to make sure is that this has been properly investigated with David Houghton. Properly.
Thank you. Next up is Michael C. Washington.
Thank you, everyone. Hey, all right. Everyone here, thank you. Shame. You heard me. Shame. Clay Bennett. Shame, Jim Couch. Shame, Ryan Kirk. Shame, Trish Everett. Shame, J. Larry Nichols. Shame, Roy Williams. Shame, Michael Kennedy. Shame, and a host of you other co-conspirators who flagrantly and recklessly tricked the citizens of Oklahoma into voting for this ridiculous, flagrant, dangerous $260 million bond to fund a $300 million jail for Oklahoma County. That is preposterous. There was an overwhelming 59% versus 41% in favor of this new jail. And I tell you at the same time, a lot of people are going to be disgruntled, hurt, depressed, and even die more so than what's already occurring in this wicked, no-good wretch jail that we call inhumane. Now then, you people have gone beyond the excess miles to subject people now to cruel and unusual punishment, but yet your lobbyist inside that jail appreciates you. Why? Because you're going to increase their sales in phone use. You're going to increase their sales in medical use. You're going to increase their sales in food use. And you're going to increase their sales in commissary bags. Isn't that something? So again, you lobbyists did your great thing, but at the same time, at the expense of citizens who are passionately asking for you to decrease the population so that overcrowdedness, there would be relieved and have a halfway chance of existing like human beings with a slight measure. Oh, but no. You would prefer that they be denied continual adequate access to showers. You would prefer that they be denied adequate access to outdoor recreation. You would prefer that they not have adequate access to food and access to medical procedures. But no, what you want to do is to increase their propensity for violence, for recklessness, for inhumane treatment, and on and on and on. Let me say, as my time winds down, which again we're going to deal with shortly, I want y'all to know with this increase in jail of 1,800 inmates, guess what this is? Now, this so-called medical facility, how many is that going to hold? Are you actually saying that you're going to, in this county, hold more than 2,400 people in your jail and mental health facility? I think not. Hasta la vista. I will be back. Boom. Goodbye.
Jody Poplin.
The first thing that I want to say is the front doors to the Oklahoma County Detention Center are shut off to the public. And according to William Monday, it's because COVID is running rampant in that jail. That is a lie. And you can see on this month's paperwork that Greg Williams has put out, only 2 detainees have COVID. The public doesn't get near the detainees. So you need to have the doors unlocked back to the public. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as my daughter, the last 2 weeks that she was in the Oklahoma County Detention Center, they were opening, crushing, altering, and tampering with her time-released medication. That was a setup for a possible overdose. Thank goodness she didn't get overdosed. There were some nurses that refused to do it because they said it won't be on my conscience and it won't be my fault. when you die of an overdose in this jail. This is her bone in her shoulder last year. Oklahoma County Detention Center is part of this. So then, this is the first time they cut her in that shoulder. She needed a 1-inch plate and 2 screws. Here's the first plate. That was all removed out of her shoulder because Oklahoma County Detention Center and Turnkey Health canceled her surgery in January of last year. Here's the second surgery. She has 26 screws in her shoulder. This is the second cut.
Oh, my goodness.
They maimed her, they crippled her,
Oh, man.
and they took away her trade. So therefore, it's a part of a big situation along with other people. But Oklahoma County Detention Center and the untrust sitting over here and Turnkey Health helped do this. And her 4 attorneys were just sworn in to the Western District. But you need to unlock those doors to the public that the public paid for, we the people. And COVID is not running rampant in your jail. I get many calls out of that jail. And no one in there has COVID. And it says so in Greg Williams. He's going to get up here and talk. And he's going to tell you 2 detainees has got it. But the employees on the first floor, their family can come in and visit. But the public is not allowed in there. And that's against the law. You can't keep us out. You can't keep us off the property. So make sure you take care of that, please.
Thank you.
Good job. Yeah.
Is it Leslie, I'm sorry, Coughley? Yes. Tell me your name, please.
My name is Leslie Cobb.
Okay, come on up.
Greetings, everyone. I'm a little too close. My name is Leslie Cobb, and I just wanted to ask a couple questions and present some things. According to the inmate handbook, which I did not get upon being incarcerated, the goals of the detention center are to sincerely provide for the custody and welfare of each inmate and promote positive behavior. I kind of see that there's some challenges with the current performance indicators. As I'm looking at the general update, the first performance indicator I see here talks about what detainee deaths, staffing levels, and new completed projects. I would like to know how those actually align with taking care of the welfare of the I guess the inmates. We all make mistakes. I also like to know how does that help to promote a positive behavior. While I was in there, this is what my care looked like, and these are bed bugs. Also, while I was in there, it says in your handbook. It also says in your handbook here, and I only say yours because it's not mine. I know it generally belongs to all of us. I'm not trying to separate myself from anyone. I'm just trying to make a point here that within the first 5 days, we're supposed to receive reception and orientation. That's supposed to be able to set expectations as to, what we can expect going forward as inmates. However, that doesn't seem to occur. If you are provided with this particular handbook, it may be a bit challenging for you. I say that primarily because literacy is still a challenge in America. While in custody, I had the opportunity to watch TV, and one of the days, the corrections officers decided to turn the TV down and just let the words play on the TV set. A couple inmates come walking by saying, why the hell are y'all watching TV? Y'all don't understand what's going on. I said, oh, I understand what's going on. You guys cannot read. So if you guys cannot read, then how do you know what the expectation is? And I bet a lot of you, when you get up out of here, are going to be upset about the way we're being treated. I'm upset too. However, I understand that literacy is still a problem. So therefore, instead of sitting here and complaining, I would like to propose some solutions. One would be to provide audio and visual of this, and so that they have the expectations and understand, what due process really looks like. Also, during the whole booking stage, I did wind up going down to medical. I spent my first 5 days arguing with medical staff over what kind of care I would need because of a long time ago, I opted for or elected to take a what they call an experimental surgery. As a result of that experimental surgery, I'm still here living the day. I was literally damn near 500 pounds and I was crushing my internal organs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Christopher Johnson.
So, bring up a couple points, and then I want for the public, whistleblowers, and everybody else to understand why this has been said and why it's important, why we're here for the public, for these things to be recorded and everything like that. So, 3 human beings died roughly within 1 week. One person was beaten to brain death and is being kept alive by machines.
I know that.
And it was not released out. The family member of this person released it. Surprise, surprise, it was happening during the vote. Because that would be negative press. To illustrate what damn near everybody from every organization, federal government, so on and so forth, and the people who are incarcerated and their families say, that it has nothing to do with the building growing an arm and hitting you. Bed bugs do not come from a structure. They attach to a host. So you literally could move them to the cold cord and you would have an infestation. That's how parasites work. So think about that while this was going on. That was being withheld. And we've brought up multiple times what this gentleman talked about making it accessible for inmates' rights. They don't care. They really don't, because if you knew your rights, you would know how to fight back, generally as public-wise. So I want to make this very clear, and I'm going to wrap it up because it's going to be pretty short. People's Council for Justice Reform, as well as our allies, are currently working with the Department of Justice. We are also providing information to the grand jury. So, now that that's out the way, we've made it public on the media, wanted everybody to hear that, to include whistleblowers, that we are in constant contact with Washington, D.C. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's going to take 5 years for that building to be built. Pretty good assumption that the federal government's coming in. I want to say that because the DOJ is very deeply interested in getting individual stories, not just the amount of evidence that's so publicly displayed by them of corruption, of fraudulent contracts, you name it, that's been given to them. But they're wanting everybody's individual stories and evidence. There is a special link that we have. We collect it, we'll send it off to them because they're deeply interested in knowing your personal stories, because everybody, not just the community activists, politicians or whatever, are important. So I'm letting you all know. We're working with the DOJ. You want something to get done, you have to fight back with the the law enforcement agencies that have the prosecutorial powers to do something.
Thank you.
I'd like to speak again. I ain't finished. Give me 3 more minutes, okay?
All right.
Mr. Cass, can I get 3 more minutes?
No.
Oh, I had to ask. I mean, you got to ask. 1 more minute.
The consent docket is before us next. On the consent docket includes the
Don't look
approval
nice
of
when
the
you wear my
minutes
lawsuit.
from the June 6th meeting. It includes invoices and claims, and it includes the income statement summary for May of 2022. Are there any items on the consent docket that the trustees would like to pull for individual discussion, consideration?
We have a right to speak on the consent document.
We have a motion from
Okay.
Mr. Brown.
We have a right to speak on
Is
the
there a
consent
second?
document.
Second.
That's the law. It's statutory law.
We have a motion and a second.
Loretta Radford.
No.
Ben Brown.
Yes.
Kevin Calvey.
Yes.
M.T. Barry.
Yes.
Jim Anderson. Chairman Jim Couch.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next up is a report from Chief Executive Officer Greg Williams.
Good afternoon. Just as a general update, we did have 3 deaths since we've last met. We had 2 in June. Both of those are being investigated as suicides. That was Christopher Kluwer and Corey McMichaels. And also Melvin Lovelace. And July the 2nd, we did have a death, Corey McMichaels. He was taken to the hospital earlier that week, disoriented and confused. Was in the hospital about 5 days, and that death is being investigated now. We won't have information until we get that back from the medical examiner's office, but there's no foul play suspected in any of those deaths. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about recruitment and retention. Of course, building our staff is critical to the operation of the jail, and it still maintains one of our highest priorities as well as one of our concerns. I'm going to talk a little bit about some completed projects that we've done, some that we've just started. COVID. Currently, we have 2 detainees that have tested positive and are active cases. We have 0 employees. During June, we had 4 detainees that had tested positive and were quarantined, and we had 13 employees. As the number of employees tested positive began to rise, we did take measures. We went back to mask mandates, and we re-emphasized the PPE stations and really took extra precaution to eliminate or control that spread. Again, our testing protocols have remained the same. We test detainees 3 to 5 days after they're received. Anytime that they're symptomatic or anytime that they report being exposed or anytime that really they want to be tested, we encourage staff and detainees to get vaccinated and tested anytime that they're suspicious or concerned about their health. Updates, we had 17 cadets graduate on the academy on June the 14th. We had 12 cadets that started the academy on June the 27th. As of today, we have 316 total employees. That's 11 more than we had last month at this time. Releasing and booking. This story remains pretty much consistent with what we've seen recently. There were 1,980 inmates released, and there were 1,961 booked in. Our average daily population was 1,631. Our count this morning was 1,541. That was our 8 o'clock. That was our 8 o'clock count.
You tell me you released them 80 goddamn people.
The releasing and booking so far for 2022, we've had 45,082 people booked in and released. It's 22,558 releases and 22,524 being booked in. And again, I wanted to say those are not unique individuals. This is more of an indication of workload more than it is bookings and releasing. So it's really not talking about individuals. Average daily population was 1,708. And in 21, that same time period, it was 1,770. We put together this graph just to kind of give you a little bit of a historical perspective on what our population has done. And again, these numbers represent the highest population of a monthly average, the highest monthly average of that year. So it's not any time frame, it's just a snapshot, the highest that it got that particular year. And you can see in 2015, the highest average monthly population for that year was 2,995. And you can see the gradual decline until 2020. And again, as you all know, 2020 was a rough year for getting people out of the jail, getting them to court, getting them transferred to DOC, getting them transferred to other agencies, and just in general had a rougher time getting people out of jail. So there was a spike in 2020, but in 2021 and 2022, we have seen that continual decrease. So we're encouraged by that. For this year, our average daily population has been 1,650. So again, it is expected that trend will continue throughout this year as well. Inoperable cells. Again, this is a story that I really wanted to relay and re-emphasize to you guys. When we took over the jail, there was 177 cells that had been deemed inoperable. And again, as we started going through the detention center and looking at those jails and doing our own inspections, we found 323 cells that we considered inoperable. Within 6 months of taking over. As of today, we have 55. And again, when I talk about an inoperable cell, that's a cell that we don't believe is inhabitable. It's got a broken fixture, it's got a hole in the wall, or it's got some feature about that cell that really we don't want to put people in there. And if we look at those numbers, that's an 82% decrease since the time we took over. So again, we focus on inoperable cells because that's what spurs triple selling, and that's what spurs the crowded conditions that we have historically maybe seen in the jail. So we're going to continue to emphasize keeping those cells repaired and keeping them inhabitable. Site checks, again, is one of the things that we are very concerned about and that we continually emphasize. We have re-emphasized that again over the last couple of weeks. We've implemented some procedures where staff are communicating more and more the importance of that. You know, we meet with our supervisors, we meet with the officers, we meet with people in general at the detention center. And again, we think communicating that and increasing radio traffic about site checks and increasing communication when they need help doing the site checks will help. So we have implemented that recently and a renewed emphasis on site checks. The Department of Health inspection, we're currently working on the corrective actions for that. You know, when we talk about the Department of Health issues, we are right in concert with the Department of Health. Their concerns are our concerns, and certainly we appreciate their input. And we appreciate what they have noted, and those are actions that we certainly want to correct. And increasing the quality of life and the safety standards for the jail is one of our highest priorities. We have contracted with Vigilon, and they've been working on updating our cameras. The situation currently is that some of the cameras are digital and some of the cameras are analog. And so this new project will replace about 210 digital camera, which will make all the cameras in the center digital, which is really helpful when you get analytics and you start having camera systems to help you monitor and record. It'll increase our storage time for the cameras. So that will really help with us. Some of the things that we've done already, we've replaced the cooler, the AC unit for the server room. That AC unit was built originally with the jail and it has been failing, so we did replace that air conditioning unit, which will help the servers and help the cameras operate more efficiently as well. We expect that this project will take about a month to complete, so hopefully we'll get this new system implemented quickly. Some of the projects that we've completed, we have fixed the security gates to the parking lot and the perimeter. There are two gates that control the employee parking area, and then there's one gate that controls traffic, maintenance traffic and delivery trucks and those in the back. Those gates have been inoperable for some time, and they've been manually opened or closed or just left open, and we have been able to get those gates back to functioning the way they should be, so that should help us with security of the parking lot and access to the building. Pod reclamation, again, that is refurbishing the pods. Right now we're on 2B, and we vacate that pod, and then we go back in and we go through every cell and we refurbish all the fixtures and utilities and showers and do painting and do those kind of things. We replace all the cell door windows and just really do a deep cleaning and get that pod back up to functioning. So currently we've got all the hinges. You know, when we took over the jail, many of the hinges and the doors were broken. They wouldn't open or they wouldn't close properly. And we have been able to either replace those or go back in and replace the hinges. So we do have all new hinges on all the doors. So the doors do open and close properly. We still do that's not the locks. We still have 2 floors that need locks repaired or replaced. But at least the doors do open and close. We were honored to host some on-site regional training. It's a master's level CERT training, and we had 6 agencies from Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas participate in that training. And the detention center, we used the vacated pod, one of the places that we're refurbishing for that training. And we were able to recertify a lot of our staff in some of the tactical techniques and training, but I did want to give you a report on that. This is a list of the employees that we've been able to promote during June. And as you see, that list is getting longer and longer, and we are pleased to represent This is just a testament to the retention efforts and really to the dedication that our staff have, and I wanted to recognize those promotions. These are our employees of the month: Jacqueline Cribbs and D.O. Fraser Desir. That concludes my report.
Greg, I'm really pleased to see that you're able to gain a little bit in the employment situation. Every place you turn, it seems like people can't find people to work, and some of those places maybe have better working conditions than at the Oklahoma County Detention Facility. And so I'm just glad to see that you were able to continue to recruit and continue to get those recruit classes through and get the people out on the floor. So that's encouraging to me.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions or comments?
Well, I would just add along the same vein that is good. And it seems like the retention is going quite well. It's just the challenge of getting newer employees. And I know you're doing everything that can be, that we can think of to do that. And we'll keep coming with good ideas. And I know you are as well. So appreciate it.
Yep. We have started where we start our new employees every Monday. So again, getting people employed and getting them on board as quickly as possible, we think is paramount to increasing those numbers in retention. So we are doing an extensive onboarding process, and we've started that about a month ago, and we're getting very, very good feedback from the new recruits on that process.
You need to give them a raise and pay them bi-weekly.
But I would like to know, how many more employee hires do you anticipate?
Yeah, we'd like to have 400. We think really to provide basic services that we'd like to add or that we'd like to complete, we need about 400. Really, we'd like to have about 260 correctional officers. And really, you probably need about 300 to do adequate services. But really, just to do the basic things, we need about 400.
So what other areas are you targeting for employees? I know you've done a fair at one of the churches.
Yeah. Yeah, we advertise, I think, on about 61 employment sites. We did a job fair last month. I'm not sure if we have one scheduled for this month, but we are continually looking for job fairs. We recruit at colleges and universities, career techs. We've been to a couple high schools. So again, I think that's mainly what we're focusing on.
Other questions? Is there a motion to receive his report?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Loretta Radford. Ben Brown.
Yes.
Kevin Calvey.
Yes.
M.T. Barry.
Yes.
Jim Anderson. Chairman Jim Couch.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 6 is a report regarding meetings of the Oklahoma County Justice Authority Citizens Advisory Board, and we have Chris Steele here with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Jail Trust. I would just start off by saying that anytime there is a heat advisory alert, I think you ought to relax the dress code. For what I almost wore shorts, but I didn't want to offend, so I didn't. I would never do that. Very quickly, I would just say that we are continuing to organize our committees, our subcommittees. As we get organized, we've had a little bit of a delay because of some scheduling conflicts, some folk being away on vacation, and lack of a quorum. But just as a reminder, we have 4 subcommittees. They are community relationships, retention and recruitment of staff, improvement to operations, and policies and procedures. All of the committees are in the process of meeting and adding additional members from the public to those subcommittees. And I would just remind the commission that the policies that the Citizens Advisory Board adopted said that the total number of individuals who would be added would not exceed the quorum of the members from the advisory commission that are on each subcommittee. So that gives us the opportunity to appoint or to add 2 to 3 members from the community to each of these subcommittees, and we're very, very excited about that. I know that Jody has expressed an interest in serving, and I appreciate that. And I also just want to say to Mr. Cobb, who I've not had the opportunity to meet, it would be great if you might want to consider joining one of these subcommittees as well. I think that your voice is extremely important in this conversation. I appreciate the way that you presented yourself and the information that you had to share. I think that's just great. The other big issue that we will be dealing with in our next meeting will be the opportunity to nominate a recommendation. This is just a recommendation to the county commissioners to fill the vacant seat left vacant by Director Albaugh. So that's not up to us, but the commissioners have been gracious enough to ask for a recommendation. So we will gladly make that recommendation and then pass that along to the commissioners, and they can do with that what they will. And so we're going to be dealing with that at our next meeting. I also want to say that I had the opportunity to visit with Chris and Mark in a private conversation, and I really appreciated that. It was very insightful, and I got to hear their heart. And I just want to say thank you publicly to Chris for taking the time to have that conversation with me. Also want to say that I had the opportunity, I was sharing this with Greg Williams, I had the opportunity to go to a wedding this weekend in Denver, Colorado. I drove there and back by myself, and I won't get into all of that, but I had plenty of time to think. Thought about the holiday, I thought about the privilege it is to live in the country that we live in, and the precious freedoms that we have. And I want to say thank you to the commission. To the advocates as well for exercising your rights and for continuing to fight for freedom for everyone. I also want to say that congratulations on the passage of the new facility. I think that that's very, very important. I would say that I fully and wholeheartedly support the bond issue that would give us the opportunity to build a new facility, and I'm excited about that. I think that it's going to continue to allow us to make progress. But I also want to say that as part of the Citizens Advisory Committee, and I know that you're all committed to this as well, that's many years away. And so there's still a need to continue to make improvements within the existing facility that we have. And Mr. Williams, I want to say thank you to you for being committed to make those improvements, and to your staff as well. And the final thing that I have is that our next meeting will take place next week, next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, on July the 13th at 9 o'clock in this very room. So we will meet next on Wednesday, July 13th at 9 o'clock here in this room for anybody that would like to attend that meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Steele.
Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Steele?
Also, our vice chair is here, Erin Engelke. So if you have any tough questions, she said that she would love. Matter of fact, she asked for me to ask you to. No, she didn't. Not really. Yeah, I'm not kidding. But yeah, got a great vice chair.
Thanks for being here.
Move to receive the report.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion and second. Receive the report. Please call the roll.
Loretta Radford, Ben Brown,
Yes.
Kevin Calvey,
Yes.
M.T. Barry,
Yes.
Jim Anderson,
Yes.
Chairman Jim Couch.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 7. This is discussion and action regarding 4 contracts. The contracts are with Johnson Controls for fire suppression services, with Indian Nation Fire Sprinkler for fire suppression system inspections, for QFS LLC for fire extinguisher inspections, and for QFS LLC for semi-annual kitchen hood inspections. Do any of the trustees have any questions or comments regarding any of these contracts? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Those are to move to approve all 4 contracts. Item 7.
Yes, correct.
Please call the roll.
Loretta Radford, Ben Brown,
Yes.
Kevin Calvey,
Yes.
M.T. Barry,
Yes.
Jim Anderson,
Yes.
Chairman Jim Couch.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Want to announce that the next meeting of the Oklahoma County Justice Authority is Monday, August 1st. Next up is executive session. I would consider a motion to move into executive session as specifically outlined under item 9.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Please call the roll.
Loretta Radford,
I would agree.
Ben Brown,
Yes.
Kevin Calvey,
Yes.
M.T. Barry,
Yes.
Jim Anderson,
Yes.
Chairman Jim Couch.
Yes.
We are recessed.
Recess.
Maybe you're supposed to be here. Well, maybe not. I think I caused, I think you better when you vote. My fault. We need a motion.
Okay,
I'll move we leave executive session and reconvene in regular session.
that's item 10. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Please call a roll.
Loretta Radford, Ben Brown,
Yes.
Kevin Calvey,
Yes.
M.T. Barry,
Yes.
Jim Anderson.
Yes.
We return.
Okay. Item 11.
I would move that we approve item 11 to retain Gable Gottwalls with regard to the reference matter there.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call a roll.
Loretta Radford, Ben Brown,
Yes.
Kevin Calvey,
Yes.
M.T. Barry,
Yes.
Jim Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Please call a roll.
Loretta Radford, Ben Brown,
Yes.
Kevin Calvey,
Yes.
M.T. Barry,
Yes.
Jim Anderson. We are adjourned.
Very well. Oh.